with your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's a local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go on this Monday evening in the city. And I don't have to tell you it's hot, but it's hot. It is, summertime has hit with a vengeance here in Memphis, Tennessee. But, if you've been here any period of time, you kind of used to this. But, boy, I tell you, today, man, it was warm over the weekend, but today it ratcheted up a couple of degrees. And tomorrow is supposed to be even warmer than today. Let alone we hadn't hit 100 precisely. I think 98, 97, 98 was the high today, 98, 99 tomorrow. But you know what? I don't really care about any of that. When the heat index is over 100 degrees, it's hot. And so those rules apply, ladies and gentlemen. If you are going to have to be outside, please take it slow, take it easy, and hydrate. If you have to work outside for any period of time, lots of water. Always, and also during this time of year, please check on your elderly and those folks, who may have some difficulty moving around in this type of heat. We are under a heat advisory until 9 o'clock tonight, 8 o'clock tonight, and tomorrow about the same. The cooling center is open, so folks who do need some relief from all of this intense heat will have a place to go and hang their heads. But as we get started this evening, great to be here. Always glad that the Lord gave me the opportunity to drive down here, safe, sound, and in one piece, and hang out with you for the next hour. So, it's so hot to be outside doing anything. You might as well stay home, stay in, stay cool, and deal with some cool conversation from a cool host. That would be me. If you are trying to determine how exactly to get this fine piece of radio broadcasting, you can do it in a number of ways. It's a radio show, so you can hear us on the radio right now live. 91.7 on your FM dial. That would be WYXR. You can also hear us on the WYXR app. You can find us on the TuneIn app. We are also, we're efforting to try to broadcast on Facebook Live tonight, live streaming the broadcast. Hopefully we'll be able to get that working here shortly. The show will be posted in the next day or two, and when it is, you can catch us a little later in this week on YouTube, as well as we are a podcast. Did you know we were a podcast, ladies and gentlemen? We are a podcast. You can catch us wherever it is you get your fine quality podcast. And while you're at it, you should subscribe to Real Talk Memphis, because, we pride ourselves around here in having some very good, stimulating conversations. So we hope you stick and stay with us for the next hour or so. We have a good show for you tonight. Several guests in the lineup. The first one is Chandell Ryan. And Chandell is the president and CEO of Downtown Memphis Commission, the Downtown Memphis Commission. And, of course, we look forward, of course, to having a conversation. She's never been on the show before. She hadn't been in her position too long. So we hope to get some information from her about her goals for the Downtown Memphis Commission, some of the special projects she has in mind, and security and a lot of other things that are happening as we are steaming through summer. And we have a lot of visitors in our city. A little bit later on, we're going to talk with Van Turner, you all know Van, don't you? Van used to be county commissioner. Van is also used to be the president of the local chapter of the NAACP. And now he is, he's a practicing attorney. And he's working with the folks out in Mason, Tennessee, who are preparing to, get that big Ford factory out there, Blue Oval. They are preparing for all of that. He wanted to, but the community, which is about 1,200 people, are concerned about equity and parity as pertains to this big corporation and how the little town of Mason will fit into all of that. Van is working with them, and he will join me a little bit later on in the broadcast to talk about that. And we also have Dr. Nick Watkins. Nick is an emergency room ER doctor specialist at Le Bonheur, and he will talk to us about the high number of incidences of young people getting shot. Juveniles are being shot and coming into the emergency room. You can imagine, with crime the way it is in our city, the strain that not only Le Bonheur, but many hospitals are feeling as a result of this. So we'll talk with him a little bit about that and find out what is happening over there at Le Bonheur. So that is the lineup for tonight. We hope that you will stick with us, as I like to say, for the next hour. But first things first, if it's your birthday today and you're celebrating, we want to help you do that. But we don't do that unless, well, first of all, we do that. But we want to make sure that you have a good day and everybody knows it's your birthday. But we can't do that until I tell Bryn to hit it. So hit it, Bryn. And we're off and running. So tonight, let's see here. The birthdays are as follows. Katrina Kelly Isom celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to Thurman Richardson Jr. See here, Kathy Woodley is celebrating her birthday today, as is Gwen Hargrove. Casey Wadlington celebrating today. Ray Lott is celebrating his birthday today. As Lola saunters up to the microphone. Militrice Thomas is celebrating her birthday today, as is Larry Ward. And happy birthday going out to Kimberly Boyd Sims. Lola.
And as the Geminis are headed out, and it's cancer season, happy birthday to my niece, Ambriel Cage, and my cousin, Vincent Robinson. Cancer season, baby.
Cancer season in the house. Well, as a Gemini, yeah, we're moving on, and it's time for the cancers. But listen, if today is your birthday, you celebrated your birthday over the weekend, and you got one coming up this week, we here at Real Talk Memphis want to wish you a very happy birthday. We hope today has been filled with love and laughter, and we hope to be with you next year for your next trip around the sun. Thank you, Bryn. All right, a few news and notes before we officially kick off the broadcast tonight. You know that the Shelby County Schools Superintendent, Dr. Marie Fagans, has issued an edict in terms of reorganizing staff and filling positions, particularly those in the classroom. Right now, that process is being put on pause. However, letters to the affected individuals are not on hold. They are still going out, some sort of an HR thing. We'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm sure that once they get the budget passed through the schools portion of things, everything will be. But we don't know the numbers yet. We don't know how many people. We heard 1,100 folks. We heard that there's some 300 positions in the classroom that are needed in the whole 9 yards. So it is a delicate time, to say the least, for the folks at the school board. This is a big week for the Memphis City Council. Tomorrow, they're meeting to discuss and hopefully finalize the budget going into 2025. The big issue, of course, is the debt that the city is under and the proposal of the 75-cent property tax increase that Mayor Young has offered. Now, let's just clear this up right now. For anybody who may think there's a misunderstanding, there will be a tax increase. That's coming. You can forget. Don't even think that that's not coming, because it is coming. How much, however, is the question mark. It was a rather contentious budget meeting today, from what I'm to understand today, all trying to figure this out. So we'll have to wait and see what the final numbers look like. I do know that at one point they were talking about not much of a property tax increase, but absolutely an increase in the car tax from $30 a year to $100 a year. That's just insane. It's insane. $100 a year. Yeah, that was Lola asking that question, ladies and gentlemen, and giving me that look. So we'll have to wait and find out, but they have to pass. They have to do something, and they'll probably do it tomorrow. So did you hear about what happened in Hardeman County over the weekend? Apparently they have a Freaknik of their own. Freaknik, for those of you who don't know, is an annual event that they have in Atlanta where people from all over the country, they just descend on Atlanta and have a big party from one end of the town to the other. Well, apparently they've been doing this on a smaller scale in Hardeman County for the last few years. Well, this year's Freaknik event turned violent when shots rang out and people had to run for cover. 2 people wound up being shot. Multiple others were injured in the event. Authorities said there were over 2,000 people in attendance. Now, Bolivar is not that big, and to have an event of that magnitude and that size in that little city or town or whatever it is pretty. So there is obviously an investigation. There were some people that 2 suspects from Haywood County were arrested, I guess, in reference to the shooting. Police said some people came from as far away as Nashville for this event. Something tells me Freaknik will not be in Bolivar County, or Hardeman County next year. Just a hunch. By the way, no joking about the heat. If you do need to take a respite from it, the city's cooling center is open from noon to 9 p.m. tomorrow. They're open tonight until 8 p.m. They're open tomorrow until 9 p.m. It is crazy hot. It is not safe for you or anybody that you care about. Finally, the TBI is now involved in an investigation that found 3 overdose deaths in Collierville over the weekend. All the victims were adults. One was in their 50s. The other 2 were in their 20s. No suspects yet. The TBI is entering this investigation, and we will see what that investigation yields. And finally, with a lot of businesses closing for various reasons across this country, restaurants included, you can add Hooters to the list. Hooters is closing locations in various parts of the country. Now, we do have one here. Don't we still have a Hooters here in downtown? Yeah. Yep. Well, they're still open, but there are several across again underperforming Hooters, but when you add that to the Red Lobster, Applebee's, Chili's, all these places, and of course here the Cheesecake Factory, which will be closing on July 14th. To this day, they still don't know why. The employees have not been told why from corporate they are closing the only location in West Tennessee. So if you're a big Cheesecake Factory fan and you like the cheesecake, you might want to get over there for the next 2 or 3 weeks and get you some. You like cheesecake? Right? Lime cheesecake. She likes. Huh? Key lime people. Brian, you like cheesecake? Yeah. You get over there. But 3 weeks. The 3 weeks left before they close their doors. That's going to do it for our news and notes on this Monday evening. We are going to take our first break, and when we come back, let's get into some conversation. What do you say, friends? On the Monday edition of Real Talk Memphis. I am your host, Chip, and we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Gonerfest 21 is coming September 26th through the 29th to Rail Garden. The annual musical festival put on by Goner Records brings bands from all over the world to Memphis to celebrate rock and roll in the city where it was born. This year's lineup includes the Ripoffs, John Spencer, Derv Gordon, Builder Space, GT, Rosalie, Split System, and more, live and in person. Tickets and more information at gonerfest.com.
Programming on WYXR is brought to you by a grant from Arts Memphis, who has been working behind the scenes for 60 years to grow the foundation of Memphis arts.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday, hot Monday evening in the city. Glad to have you with us, Chip with you. And I'm very happy to have my first guest with us. We've been trying to connect up for a while now, and I am glad that we were able to make it happen. She is the president and CEO of the Downtown Memphis Commission, and a lot of folks know her, and Chandell Ryan is her name, and she is my guest. And Chandell, I want you to know before we even get started, everybody I talk to about you says you are just the most wonderful human being ever. Can you hear me?
Oh, that's really nice. I'm so glad that we're having a chance to connect.
Absolutely, I am as well, and it's great to see you. And welcome to the show. I guess first things first, you came to the Downtown Memphis Commission from the city of Memphis, where you were the chief operating officer, correct?
That is correct.
So,
I was at the city about almost 20 years.
Okay. So I guess I wanted to know from you what, if anything, from the transition from working. I mean, this is still a city, kind of a city governmental position that you're in now. But what, if anything, did you bring from your experience as the chief operating officer of the city of Memphis to your new position as president and CEO of the Downtown Memphis Commission?
Well, first and foremost, my deep love for Memphis, number one, hands down, is what I brought to this position. And I've been serving Memphians for a very long time. So that's come with me. My deep knowledge of the city and the inner workings of government and how Memphis works as a city, I brought that knowledge and those connections with the individuals who still work as city government. We have to work closely with the city of Memphis in order to be successful as an organization, as one of our functions. And so those relationships and the understanding of how city government works and how the service of city works has been very helpful.
I would imagine so. And that, like you said, that deep connection that you have and have had with the city for such a very long time. So, you've not been in the seat that long. I know that you are, getting to adjusted to a few things, and you have some things on your agenda items. What would you say is the current focus under your helm and leadership at the DMC?
Well, I want to see downtown more energized, more celebrated, more connected, and of course more safe. So that's what I'm focused on. We are we help to develop downtown as our economic platform, but then we also help to keep downtown vibrant and create beautiful spaces and create a very engaged public with downtown. And so all of those things are definitely things that I'm focused in on right now.
It is that time of year. Weather's hot and warming up, and we're getting a lot of traffic here in our city. Folks are coming here from all across the country, all across the world. Mm-hmm. Memphis seems to be a prominent destination for a lot of people, and that's a good thing economically as well. And I would imagine, as you said a minute ago, you want to create a more vibrant downtown Memphis. How do you go about doing that, Chandell?
Well, it happens in a number of ways. But first, I will say it is the work that we do to develop downtown. So the incentives that we provide and the developers that we help who want to invest in downtown. When I think about the 100 North Main project and how it's going to be transformational for the north side of downtown areas, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to unlock a whole lot of potential. When I think about some other projects like the Cottonwood Apartments in the Uptown area, just being a part of those developments, number one, is going to help attract people to this area. Number two is the activations that we do. We have events. We have over 400 events that we're aware of that happen downtown. There's so much to do and there's so much to see. And we try to capitalize on that as much as we can. We in fact have an event coming up in July that we're calling Alley Days on July 10th. So that's another way that we help to bring people into the downtown area.
You know, one thing that you see, and you mentioned a couple of one of the projects in particular down there, there's a lot of work going on in the downtown area, which in a way has to make you feel good because that is a sign of progress. I've said before, and I've talked to some developers, anytime you see cranes in a particular part of town, you know that there's work being done, and that work is being done to improve our city. So that has to really make you feel good about the prospects down the road. Am I correct in that?
Absolutely. We're always excited to see cranes in the sky. There's a lot of development happening at the St. Jude. That's like a $2 billion project. Mm-hmm. We've got the new Brooks, or what will be the Memphis Arts Museum, right there on the riverfront. There's cranes there. It's going to be a huge impact to downtown. And again, this right next to me is a building, a 100 North Main building. It's over $200 million of investment that is already underway.
You know, Chandell, when we think about our city, we think about there's a vibe that is ever present here. And I've had a lot of friends that have come and visited the city from time to time, and they just think there's a vibe, and there's a real vibe downtown. And there's nothing more exciting than seeing Beale Street just packed with folks. I mean, just wall to wall people. Music blaring from the businesses, people having a good time doing their thing, and I know that is one of the things that you're focused on. What are you doing as an organization to try to attract more Black businesses to the downtown Memphis area? I think I heard you talk about that before. That's very important to you, is it not?
It is it's very important. I have to take this side journey just for a quick second.
Sure.
If you'll indulge me. It's so interesting that you talk about the vibe of downtown.
Yeah.
I like to say you can feed your soul with the vibe of downtown Memphis. And how I use that word as an acrostic, I say it's a place you can visit, a place you can invest, a place you can become, and a place that you can enjoy. So I absolutely agree with this concept that there's a vibe down here and it's unmistakable. But back to the real question, which was, what are we doing to help bring Black businesses downtown? We have a number of tools in our toolkit that will help for the barriers that we know as Black individuals experienced historically. We actually, as a DMC, won an award from the International Downtown Association for the toolkit that we have. But we've got pre-development, we have a pre-development grant, we have a development loan, we have a retail TI grant, we have our EBO program where we seek for our developers to have over 25% of minority participation, and we have this Open on Main program where you can test out your idea as a new up and coming developer or a business owner in an environment that's safe for you, because we will pay the rent for a year, and you can test out your concept and open your business, and we'd love to have you. And so how do we reach them?
Go ahead.
Is that we partner with organizations that help to find those individuals. Not only do we post things on our social, post them on our website, but we also partner with minority-focused organizations.
Safety is always an issue, of course, that we talk about. But as far as I'm concerned, that is a collaborative effort. That is, and that is an all hands on deck, every person effort. How focused are you on that in terms of the collaboration part of how we can all contribute to the safety of our city, and especially those who visit us from around the country?
You're absolutely right. Safety is paramount. And let me say this for the record. Crime is down. Downtown, crime is down, and we are really excited about that. And we definitely partner with our law enforcement agencies to continue the downward trend. And we do things like we have regular meetings with MPD or whatever law enforcement agencies that exist in and around downtown. We meet with them regularly. We have the Blue Suede Brigade. The Blue Suede Brigade, they are of over 30 individuals. They are actually security officers, and they help to be additional presence and additional eyes in and around downtown. We just hired 6 additional individuals. They're in training right now to help us to stay safe downtown. It's definitely paramount, and we are doing our part to increase the safety of downtown.
Chandell, one final question for you. When you look down the road 5 years from now, let's just use that 5 years as an example. What would you like to see downtown Memphis look like, and what is the message that you want to send from downtown Memphis?
I want to see downtown booming even more than it is now. I want you to come downtown and not recognize where you are. You know, that we have so many new and interesting things happening that you have to rediscover downtown again. That would be amazing for us. There is a lot of things in the pipeline that will get us there. I just really want to see us celebrate our culture more, celebrate what's beautiful about Memphis and downtown, and I would love for that to be what we see in 5 years.
Listen, Chandell Ryan, ladies and gentlemen, the president and CEO of the Downtown Memphis Commission. They got the right one. I think that your energy, your passion, and your enthusiasm for this city shines through in talking to you, and I look forward as time moves on to have you back on the show to talk about some of the new and exciting projects and other things that are happening in downtown Memphis. Thank you for coming on the show. I've enjoyed this conversation. I really have.
I have too, and I can't wait to talk to you again. I'll be back.
Thank you, Chandell. You have a good night. You be safe out there, and you come back soon.
Have a wonderful day.
Huh? I'm sorry.
I said, okay, yes, thank you.
Absolutely that. Chandell Ryan, ladies and gentlemen. Again, great conversation. You know, the downtown Memphis area is our showpiece, and of course, we want to bring people here from all over the world. And when they come here, we want them to have a wonderful time here, and more importantly, we want them to go back to where they came from and say, "Boy, Memphis is really hitting on all cylinders." We really appreciate her, and we appreciate that. We'll take another break, and when we come back, we'll shift gears, and we'll talk a little bit about what is happening in terms of our young people in this city and some of the issues that they're facing from the hospital side of things. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We'll take another break, and we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR, including our 2024 stereo sessions, comes from VIA Productions. Founded in 2003, VIA specializes in audience engagement, creating all types of video and audio content ranging from animation to documentaries. More information on how VIA can bring your brand story to life at viaproductions.co.
Church Health's Memphis Plan continues its decades-long commitment to serving local musicians with comprehensive health care and also tailors its focus to small business owners and the self-employed. Health care through the Memphis Plan provides care in Memphis for Memphians. Related services include preventative health, optometry, dental care, and more. More information regarding availability at memphisplan.org or at 901-272-PLAN.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you on this very hot, sticky and humid evening. If you don't have to be outside, don't be outside. Stay in, stay cool, and check us out this evening. We talked at the top of the show about violence is an ever-present topic and issue in our city, and one of the things that really disturbs us quite a bit is seeing our young folks becoming victims of the criminal activity in this city. I recently saw a story on one of the news stations about something we don't think about, but maybe we take a little bit too much for granted, and that is the emergency rooms at the hospitals in our city. When I wanted to have someone join me who could speak to that, who is on the front lines of seeing some of these injuries on a daily basis. He's Dr. Nick Watkins, and he is an emergency room pediatric doctor, physician, and he joins us now. And Dr. Watkins, Dr. Nick, it's great to see you. How are you tonight?
Well, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well.
So listen, we all kind of take a different turn when we talk about the violent acts of others, particularly when it pertains to our young people. And we are seeing that like I said, you work in pediatrics, so you deal with the young folks over at Le Bonheur. And we are seeing more and more of those type of injuries. And I would imagine for you and the others on your team, on your staff, this has to be a pretty difficult scenario because I think the numbers reflect that there are quite a few injuries that you see of this type. Am I correct in that?
Oh, you're absolutely correct. And I can take a sort of broader scale if you would like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So accidental injury for a few years has been the leading cause of death in children when you exclude congenital diseases. So that's diseases that are developed during pregnancy and in the womb. So accidental injuries, leading cause of death. And then for a long time, it was car accidents were the leading cause of death. But in 2020, it became that firearm injuries became the leading cause of death of our children and our young adults as well. And in the state of Tennessee, that actually happened in 2017. So we were a little early to the punch. And then that trend is the same trend that we see here locally. So not only in Memphis, but in the state of Tennessee as well. At Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, we had a record high number of gunshot victims treated last year in 2023. And unfortunately, those numbers are on par to be about the same this year so far.
That is extraordinarily tragic. One of the recent cases that we're all aware of is the incident that happened on the interstate on 240, where four literally babies were shot. In a situation, 2-year-old, 3-year-old twins, and an 8-year-old, along with their father, shot, critically wounded. I know you have to, as a doctor and as a medical professional, physician, you have to maintain a certain level of I don't know what the word is exactly, but I mean, when you see things like this that happen, and especially the last couple of years, you've seen so much of this. I mean, does it wear on you, as a medical professional? I would imagine, regardless of what your job is, when you see young people coming in these emergency rooms at such a high pace, it has to affect you in some type of way, does it not?
Oh, yes, it certainly does. I would say we're deeply affected by it, and not only as healthcare workers, but as members of the community as well. I'm a father, so that there's an extra layer there as well, having your own children when you take care of children who have been shot. And we as emergency healthcare workers just happen to be the ones who see it firsthand. And honestly, it's a duty that we're willing to take head on, and it's a privilege that we get to serve the children of Memphis. But the hardest part of my job is when I have to tell a family member, a mother, a father, that their child has died and they won't ever see them again. That's the hardest part of my job, the hardest thing that I have to do. So it does take a burden, and it's reflected in the things that we see amongst healthcare workers and emergency personnel. That's a higher rate of anxiety, depression, higher suicide rates, PTSD, and over half of emergency care physicians have burnout in some way. And so it affects their daily lives, both in the hospital and outside the hospital.
We saw that a lot of that during COVID that we all had to deal with a couple of years ago. And because you were working so many long hours and there was so much loss and there was so much death and there was so much grief. And there was burnout there. Are you all still, you mentioned that a minute ago, are you all still recovering from that in terms of the number of staff required to do what you do on a daily basis? Is it still difficult to find qualified individuals to do what you do on a daily basis?
I think as a whole, the healthcare system, still has a little bit of a struggle, but, I think we're very fortunate here in Memphis and at Le Bonheur that, we have more than adequate staffing to take care of the needs of the patients that we serve at Le Bonheur. Mm-hmm. It always takes a toll, and there's always going to be some sort of staffing issue or things along that nature. But we are very, very grateful and very fortunate that we don't deal with much of that as many other cities do. And I think that goes to speak to the community that we serve and the administration at our hospital and the things that they do for us. One
thing we hear a lot about, or I have heard about in the past, is the blood supply. There are many people who are dealing with many health-related issues of all type. But when you have an extraordinary amount of individuals coming in, the wounded, individuals who've been shotgun victims and things like that, they require immediate attention, emergency room, immediate attention. And of course, a big part of that is the blood supply. Is that always something that's a constant concern? As far as what you all do on a daily basis, because so much is required to render aid to these gunshot victims. There may be some other folks that may have to suffer as a result of that. Are you finding that to be the case, or no?
So yes and no. I think it's a great question because it's something that we don't always think about, but it's a very important question because we're always thinking about resources, right? And so part of our job is resource allocation. Thankfully, we haven't run into a situation where, realistically speaking and pragmatically speaking, we have to take resources away from one person to provide to another. We haven't run into that situation, but we are looking at our resources constantly and continually. Administrative meetings and trauma department meetings, emergency department meetings, looking at those sort of resources, just like you mentioned with blood products. And there's other things out there, medication shortages and things of that nature. But, it's something that we monitor continually, but thankfully not having to deal with that directly as of right now.
One of the things that you mentioned a bit earlier, and I've always been concerned about this, is the mental toll that what you do takes on you all as professionals. You're not androids, you're not robots. You're human beings, and many of you have families. Homes you go to, children that you go home to each and every day. What are the resources? And I'm sure there are resources. Are there resources available to members of your staff and members of your team within the confines of the hospital that they can go to maybe, get some of this, talk this out, you know what I mean? Get some of this out, because some of the injuries that you see have to be pretty devastating and pretty grueling. And you mentioned it, the worst thing in the world is to have to come out and tell a parent that they've lost a child due to, a gunshot wound or whatever it is. But are there resources available for you all, the medical professionals, that sort of help to relieve that burden that you don't have, that maybe you don't want to have to carry so much?
Right. That's a good question. A lot of us, went into medicine because we care about people, we have compassion, we have empathy, and particularly when it's dealing with children, it makes that job even more difficult.
Yeah.
But thankfully, there are resources for healthcare workers, both on a national scale and a local scale. So through through Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare System, there's resources there for the providers, nursing, the other staff in the hospital. And then there's national organizations that most of us are a part of, either through emergency medicine or pediatric medicine, that provide resources such as counseling or things of that nature. But even directly, when we take care of a child who has been severely injured, whether it's fatal or not, afterwards, we as a team will regroup and discuss that case and sort of make sure that we're present and there for each other, right?
Yeah.
Because part of our job is that, we're always going to the next patient. There's always someone else to go see. And a lot of times we don't have time to process what just happened previously. And so that's one of the more difficult parts of our job is the doors are open 24/7. And no matter what comes in, we have to be prepared for it. And so we put the patients first. But it's important for us as healthcare workers of any level to also think about our own health, our mental health, and being there for each other.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of one thing I'm always thinking about, what other people are going through. I know, during times of crisis and emergency, your focus is one place, but at some point or another it gets quiet. It gets quiet, and people, and you have a momentary, time maybe to be alone to try to process some of this. Would you say, Dr. Nick, that we have a pretty robust medical community as a whole in terms of Memphis, period, the hospitals and the trauma centers and the children's hospital and everything else that you work at? How would you rate the hospital system here in Memphis and Shelby County?
It's difficult for me to speak on the adult facilities because I'm directly dealing with pediatric patients or children. But I would say, for the most part, we probably take it for granted a little bit as community members having readily available access to medical care here. It could always be better. Anything and everything could be better. But we think about how large our catchment area is of the patients that we see, patients who travel hours away to come and see us for a variety of complaints. And I think if we are here local in Memphis and Shelby County and the direct surrounding area, we're pretty fortunate to have such great care available, both adult and pediatric trauma centers right in the heart of Memphis, and then many other great hospitals in the surrounding areas and suburbs. And so we have a really good hub here in Memphis for healthcare. And especially on the pediatric side, I think we do a pretty good job of providing access and care, expanding outside of the city and outside of Shelby County.
As a pediatric specialist dealing in that field specifically, and seeing what you see and the number of cases that you see, and you have seen the last couple of years, one last thing, what message would you have for us as a city, as a community, especially with what you see on a regular basis with our young people?
Right. So I think the main thing to think about is, especially right now, upcoming this fall is election season, both locally and nationally. And so I want each and every community member to know that they can make a difference. They have a voice as individuals, as families, as a community. And so reach out and talk with your representative, figure out who is going to run for a position in your district, find out what they stand for and how they are going to vote on certain issues, especially when it comes to common sense gun laws and things of that nature. Speak to families, speak to friends, and maybe speak to someone who has differing views than you do. Create a dialogue so that we can all move forward in the future.
Absolutely that. Dr. Nick Watkins, pediatric surgeon specialist at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. Thank you for talking with us. And more importantly, thank you for the work that all of you and your colleagues do each and every day for our young people. It is appreciated and by so many. And I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on tonight, really.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for amplifying the voices of Memphis.
Appreciate that. Dr. Nick Watkins, ladies and gentlemen. And, he's got a big job, man. I tell you, they have a big job, man, with what is going on in our city. And one thing he said that was absolutely dead on point at the end. You know what? Voting is an important component, ladies and gentlemen. It can change a lot of things. If you can change a lot of laws, you can change a lot of things and maybe change the perspective and the trajectory of where things are going now. We thank Dr. Nick Watkins for being with us. We'll take one final break, and when we come back, we'll shift gears and talk a little local politics. This ought to be interesting. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. One final break, and we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Yo, it's Chemist here, host of Computer Noise Radio, and I'm here today to ask you to consider donating to WYXR. When you donate to WYXR, you're no longer merely a listener. You're a vital part of our WYXR community. Becoming a member is incredibly valuable for community radio, allowing us to budget, plan, and increase the ways we serve Memphis. Join us in shaping the future of local radio now at wyxr.org/donate.
Connect with Memphis on WYXR. We offer sponsorship opportunities that expose your brand to our loyal listeners who value local arts, culture, and music. Support public radio and be part of our community. Explore more at wyxr.org/sponsorship.
Support for WYXR comes from the Halloran Center for Performing Arts and Education, setting the stage for everyone. The Halloran Center next door to the Orpheum invites you to be in the center of it all through live entertainment, arts education, community programs, and event spaces all year round. More information at orpheum-memphis.com. Sunset Jazz at Court Square is a free, family-friendly jazz concert series hosted by Just Jazzin', located at 62 North Main in downtown Memphis. The series is held annually, every second Sunday of May through October, featuring a lineup of jazz artists showcasing different styles from straight ahead to swing. More information can be found at sunsetjazzmemphis.com.
Located on the second floor of the Crosstown Concourse, the Memphis Listening Lab is a curated collection of music and music history that is open to the public 6 days a week. Vinyl Happy Hour happens every Friday between 3 and 5 p.m., where guest DJs from around the community will spin some of their favorite records. More information and a complete listing of upcoming events at memphislisteninglab.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Glad to have you with us. Chip with you, and glad you're along for the ride. Mason, Tennessee is a small town, about 1,200 people, give or take. But they are getting national exposure by the way of Blue Oval, the Ford plant that is going up in that facility, that vicinity out there. But recently, The community has been trying to partner with Blue Oval to become a community partner with them and be included in a lot of the additions and a lot of other things. In other words, they want some equity in all of this. And as a small community, that is their neighbor. That is their right. Well, we have a guest with us tonight who is helping them in their effort. They had a press event last week. You all remember, you all know our good friend Van Turner. He was a former county commissioner. He is a practicing attorney, former president of the NAACP. And Van joins us now. And Van, it's great to see you, my friend. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. Good to be here with you.
So
Mr.
listen,
Washington.
Yes, sir. No, you can call me Chip. I've known you a long time. So, but listen, glad to have you with us. Now, I did see the presser that you, along with members of the church and members of the community organization, had last week. And to me, it boils down to, Van, it boils down to equity. But for our listeners who don't know, explain what it is that you all are trying to get in reference to working with Blue Oval.
Well, I appreciate you shedding more light on this story. What we're attempting to do is sign what's called a community benefits agreement with Ford Motor Company for their Blue Oval project. And basically, that is a written document which would guarantee so much equity that Ford Motor Company will push out into the community in which they're about to be, members of. Mm-hmm. And so that means we're seeking affordable housing. We're seeking help with infrastructure and roadways. We're seeking help with educational facilities. We're seeking help with job opportunities. Even the subsidiary companies that will come and support Blue Oval. We would like for those companies to be based in Tennessee and to have headquarters in Tennessee and to hire from West Tennessee. So essentially, what the CBA, the Community Benefits Agreement, would do, it will ensure that the local residents of West Tennessee benefit from Blue Oval. Not just everyone else, but local West Tennesseans, folks in Mason and Brownsville and all those areas.
So, Van, in terms of all of this, and it sounds like you're looking for parity and a fair agreement. What has been the take so far in reference to the Ford Motor Company, in reference to your concerns? Are they listening? Are they willing to get into a deeper conversation? Where do things stand at this time?
We hope that the exposure that you're providing and other media outlets will expedite the process. My understanding is that Ford Motor Company knows this CBA push is out there. They've dealt with it in other jurisdictions. The unions are supporting, so they know that's going on as well. So we're hopeful that acknowledging this issue is a first step, but really coming to the table and signing off on the CBA would be the next step. And so I think they know we're out here, but now it's just a matter of getting to the negotiation table, and hopefully that will happen soon.
This is a very, very big deal for West Tennessee and for so many people in some of the communities that you mentioned, previous. Now, we did hear not too long ago some of the vendors, and which kind of disturbed me a little bit. Some of the vendors that are working for the company, and there was some pay issues that they weren't getting paid. They weren't getting paid and things like that. That to me signaled a bit of a red flag. Now, I don't know any of the particulars. I don't know anything about all of this other than what I heard. When you heard about all of this, what direction did that take you in terms of how we're moving forward with this project?
Well, with any project, there are hiccups along the way. There are issues that pop up. Obviously, that's a big issue that they needed to resolve, and hopefully they have resolved it. But as you know, Chip, with any large-scale operation and build out like what's happening there are going to be issues. Mm-hmm. And so we just want these issues to be short term. I mean, it shouldn't be a long lasting situation of the contractors not being paid. And this should not be a long lasting situation of not signing this community benefits agreement. So we're hopeful that Ford Motor Company will come to the negotiating table that they would sign off on the CBA, and that West Tennesseans can truly benefit from this huge opportunity and operation.
How big a deal, then, is this in terms of signing off on the agreement that you guys are pressing forward with? How big a deal would this be for a community as small as Mason, Tennessee? This is an incredible opportunity here, and you would like to think that the Ford company would be a willing community partner with this small town and saying, you know what, as these buildings rise, we're going to lift you up as well. Do you see, based on any conversation or communications that you've had with these folks, that this will be a problem, and if so, there's always a next step in the process of this, and I'm sure you guys have had those conversations as well.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. You know, I actually spoke directly with the general counsel of Ford Motor Company probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and that was during the issue with Mason potentially losing his charter. As you know,
right.
Comptroller Mump letter, and they were seeking to remove the charter of Mason, Tennessee.
Right.
And we fought for that, and Mason kept his charter. But during that time period, I was speaking with Ford Motor Company's general counsel. He was very genuine. He wanted to be a partner. He wanted to assist. And I don't think that's going anywhere. And he would be the one that would more or less give the green light to go to the negotiating table. So I'm sure, you know, on our side, we're going to reach out to him and to other executives. I believe Ford Motor Company wants to do the right thing, and they're perhaps looking for a path forward. We want to make it as easy as possible because, as you stated, Mason has seen its ups and its downs, its highs and its lows.
Yes.
They had a prison out there at one point which really employed so many of the citizens there in Mason, then it shut down. And then you had the whole attempt to remove his charter. And so now we have this golden opportunity of a community benefits agreement with Mason, and it's a game changer. I mean, it can change the trajectory of Mason and West Tennessee for years and years to come. We're talking about something that, if done correctly, 2 decades from now, you won't even recognize Mason or some of these smaller West Tennessee communities such as Galloway, and we've already talked about Brownsville. Right. So we need for this to happen. We need for it to happen the right way, and we need for it to benefit West Tennessee.
Well, they have you on the case, so that gives me hope and inspiration. Will you do me a favor? Will you, as time moves along with this, and if at a certain point there is an agreement signed, will you come back on the broadcast and tell us a little bit about all of this and how Mason and these other communities will benefit moving forward? We'd really like to keep up with you on this.
Absolutely. I'll do it.
Van Turner, ladies and gentlemen, so glad to have you, Van, on the show. Thanks for taking the time to be with us this evening, and we really appreciate your time, and we look forward to some great updates in the future. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. That wraps up this edition of Real Talk Memphis, man. We're pulling for Mason, Tennessee. That's a big deal. That's a small town who has, as Van said, ups and downs, but this could be a big win for every resident in that area and a lot of other West Tennessee towns as well. So play us out, Brent, as we get out of here. Appreciate you being here, ladies and gentlemen, on this very, very hot night. We hope that you got something out of the conversations that we had with our special guest this evening. I thank our guests for being with us this evening and taking time out from their busy schedules. And listen, we thank you for supporting this show. If you like what we do, and if you like what you hear, please tell somebody. Download the podcast. It's available on all podcast platforms. You might learn something. You never can tell. On this broadcast, you actually might pick up a nugget or two that you can actually hold on to. So we really appreciate you being here. Please watch out for your elderly family members and friends, your neighbors. Watch out for your pets in this heat. Too hot to be running around outside. And watch out for yourself. For all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, for Lola, and for Bren, and for yours truly, Chip. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us. Be safe, and we look forward to seeing you next week. But until then, we are out. Take care.